Hello, hello, hello. Okay, live streaming here. Let's see if we can get this show on the road properly. Let's move this over here. See if I can get my microphone a little closer. That is a little better. How's my rock and roll hair doing? Very good. Hello, everybody. How are you today? We're going live. And as we talked about in the video about a half hour to an hour ago when I tried to be live, it was, I think the title even says something about dominant chords. We're going to map out the important tones for dominant chords. You've heard about them. It's the fifth chord in the scale. If you are trying to understand jazz, as I am, what I'm learning now is it's more, you're going to get into jazz. If you want to get into jazz yourself, it's more or less better approach to learn jazz standards. Just like when I learned rock and roll music, my first forage into learning how to play with any rock song was just learning rock songs, learning the first accessible solo that I felt I could play, which was stuff from, for me, was Pink Floyd, Rush, certain songs. Allowed me to kind of get a feel for what was going on. So, I think it's the same with jazz. This, what I teach here is just it's very thought. I don't know. There's a lot of thought involved. Not a lot of thought involved, but it's a very detailed picture of what of the basics of music theory, but it's not exactly what you would use, say, it's not going to necessarily suddenly say, oh wow, look at, there's jazz on paper. It doesn't really work like that. But anyways, seventh chords, though, the reason I was bringing that up, though, seventh chords are big into jazz, and if you've heard about a 2-5-1 all the time, you kind of need to know about the dominant chord and kind of how to navigate on your fretboard with the chord tones from a dominant chord. So let's go over that today. Since I kind of also because I wanted to go live and I really couldn't think of anything to go live on, since we've done a lot of modal stuff. I've kind of feel like I've worn it out. How to jam in modes, Y modes, this mode, that mode. And I also have this new Eros looper, and I want to maybe make a video about using that. So I don't know, I might do that maybe as a second live broadcast, because I like it. I spent a lot of money on it, but it's kind of complicated, and I find myself I'm not using as much. I'm not making as much music as I did when I had a much more simple Jamman looper. So I want to kind of just kind of go live with it, show you guys how it works, and I don't know, maybe I'll watch the video, back the replay and see, if what I see when I watch myself use it, if I really want to keep this thing or just ditch it and get on with things, because I'm finding that there's two things are going on with it. It's kind of like we're all guinea pigs. Like, there's a whole bunch of updates that keep coming out. We keep on finding out, what different configurations that might make it a little bit handier for certain users. So they keep updating it, and that's okay. But I would rather get a pedal that's been thoroughly researched, developed, and sent to market, not be part of an experimental program. I don't mind, so to speak, so much, but for the price I paid, maybe something a little bit more like the Head Rush Looper might be more up my alley. Plus, the second thing is with the ability of it's kind of neat. The developers are right there. They're taking input from people, but so many people have so many different ways of looping and so many different things they want. They're adding super complexity to the system, and I've mentioned that they need to make a couple of different mode. But anyways, I just realized, like, I'm way lost on this Eros looper. That's not part of our focus today. Let me stop doing that and get to the point here. I'm sorry for rambling, ruining the video with rambling. So let's draw a fretboard here as we know how. We're gonna take the oops. Well, that didn't work out very good, did it? I didn't want to go there anyways. I want to be here on the bottom. So why is that on the top? This is upside down. I think I got my camera upside down. That's not gonna good. Like if I go, yeah, that's not very good. Okay. All right, here, down. All right, here's what we're gonna do. I think you're gonna be able to see my Eros looper here, but things are gonna go wacky here for a second. I'm gonna move this camera right there. All right, and then I'm gonna grab this thing and spin it around. Oh yeah. Here's my rig for jamming. Oh. Hey, look, there's the Eros looper. This is my RP350. It's a pretty old, outdated pedal, a lot like the RP350. Sorry it's so dark. I don't know why this thing can't see anything there. There you go. So there's the first, it's where my guitar goes into a guitar synth to jazz up the sound when I need it to. From there, it goes into the RP350, which also is taking in a microphone that I'm speaking on right now, which goes through a GT Tascam GT guitar trainer thing, which has a vocal preset, so it works as a vocal preamp, which is awesome. I don't need a 48. It's just a condenser mic. It's not a phantom powered mic. Now, so from the RP350, on one channel I've got the freeze patched in, and then the other channel, it's basically two channels. I think probably the left channel I've got the freeze on, and the right channel just goes straight out. They both go into the left and right of the Eros looper. The Eros looper then goes into the Beat Buddy, and from the Beat Buddy outputs go straight into my Behringer. See through my mess here. I can't even see it anyways, but the Behringer UM2 interface. The Behringer UM2 guitar interface. And what do we got there? Oh, my taxes. You don't need to see my taxes. My taxes. I did alright. Despite this pandemic thing, didn't affect my work. It's kind of strange since I'm farting around here getting ready, ramble on talking about the pandemic here, how it's not really, didn't totally affect me in a weird way, because in the very beginning of getting this job as a van expediter, which ruined my ability to be home all the time, making these lessons, which could change if I get supporters on, say, Patreon, or I get my channel gets upgraded so I can do super chats. That would be awesome. I see all these other channels talking about super chats now, and I'm like, well, that's a bummer. I can't do that. So this van expediting job, I remember I was complaining on it early on because it was such a shock I've always been kind of like fine on my own. I can't stand working with a lot of other people. It really, all my other jobs where I tried to do that were just pretty much a failure because people bug me and irritate me. So I like to work alone. The jobs that I've had working alone on my own, independent, have been the best. So this suits me well. However, like, I had a couple instances where, like, in the very beginning, you're in all these strange cities, living in this van like a trucker, it's like an over the road. Think of an over the road trucker, but I just carry smaller loads in a van. You're in isolation a lot, which is fine, but then you're in strange cities. You don't know anybody. Everyone's a stranger. Everyone looks kind of strange, and it gets to you at first. And so you rely on your friends, and then you find out that your friends, who your real friends are, which is not most of them, because as soon as you're not around to entertain, as soon as I wasn't around to entertain them, they basically kind of fell away and didn't want to spend time entertaining me out on the road. So lots of feelings of isolation way out there, had to deal with that. And so as soon as I heard everybody like freaking out over being alone, being inside all the time, I was like, wow, get used to it, because if I did it, you can too. I just was kind of shocked that what was happening to me turned out to happen to everybody else tenfold. So, I don't know. Anyways, enough of that jazz. Let's get to the lesson here. So we got to make a fretboard, and we know how to make that real easy. We go down some kind of 24 frets. I don't know what we did there, but we want to go 6 frets down. So we want 1 row of squares for each string. So there's 6. We'll start there. We'll go down here. I'll know where to stop when I do this. I had it measured out on the ruler one time, but I think it's 6 inches or something like that. But you make this a little thicker so it kind of represents the nut. You can even write in your string names, your E for your low E, A, D, G, B, and I use a lowercase e for the high E. So now we know it looks like an F, so we'll make that an E. I think we're losing some lead here. Alright, so now you make your dots, just skip 2, just like your fretboard, then skip 1, and you make 4 of them. And when you get to the end there, you skip 2, because that's what your guitar does. And you go like that, and you're already at your 12th fret, so you skip 2 more, just like the beginning, and you make 4 dots. Down the center line there, so it's not in the way of your graphing, and you skip 2, and look at that. We were right on the money there with the lines that we made. And to keep things neat, we use a straight edge here, draw down, and there is our handy dandy fretboard. So let's say we wanted to play around with our 5 chord. If you didn't watch my video I did 15 minutes ago, I'm going to repeat something here. I'm going to noodle around with a 5 chord, but I'm also going to make it sound interesting too. And this is one way I was experimenting earlier this afternoon with how to make it sound interesting. I'm going to use my freeze pedal to make a background chord to jam with. Okay, freeze pedal, let's go. So as you can hear, it's like the low E is like the lowest tone. It needs some bass in there, but it didn't want to grab that low bass tone. Alright, so I'm accentuating the I'm putting this note in there, which sort of clashes with the A. It's a flat fifth away, but that makes it Lydian sounding. I've put the fourth note on my scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. I've put the fa note on the A, so that gives it a Lydian sound. So once again, there's do on the E, F sharp, G sharp, A. And that gives me that slightly brighter than, less plain than regular major Lydian sound. So that's kind of expressing our chord that's in the background as a 4 chord. Chord is it? It's a root, A, a 5, E, another root A, and then the 2 way up top. So I think that's an add 9 because it doesn't have a third in it. That was just standard major. See, they'll both work. There's a difference between this note that's got kind of a regular sound to it than this note. And those are the differentiating, that one note there, the difference between this and this is the difference between major and Lydian. Be nice if you could see my fretboard a little bit easier. Sorry. And at the 17th fret, 16th is the Lydian note, 15th is the Ionian note, and they're the gut notes of this pentatonic scale. So, that being said, now that it's kind of got Lydian in your ears, we're going to kind of do this. I'm going to play some other shapes, and I'm going to play a bunch of shapes here, and it's going to create kind of like a sound. So here I go. First, it's easier if I don't try to hold the guitar with my hand while I'm trying to jam. Free it up to just move around here. I'll hold it a little bit more toward the camera here. And why don't I get the camera here back up over here? I don't know if this is gonna work. That's not really what I want. what I want. Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. Yeah, here. Here we go. Oops. So, if you heard something that sounded kind of like some musical interplay there, what I was actually thinking of as I jammed, because all those were the notes of the Aeolian scale, Aeolian scale shape. I could have just been noodling around like this. That's okay, but it's kind of that playing there just kind of like didn't go anywhere. There was no interplay, and it had like a two-dimensional sound, where this had some dimension to it. There were two interplaying parts, the this and the this. And because those were such defined parts, I was able to kind of step out and put some wrong notes in there that sounded kind of cool. Tension. It's going to release to what those specifically were arpeggios of the chords. This is the E, which is where that kind of chord is actually coming from, even though the root note is on A. And this is from the 5 chord. What I realized today as I was jamming is that playing in Lydian, like I told you we just set up, but accentuating the arpeggio of the 5 chord sounds kind of cool. Because it maintains that kind of Lydian kind of weirdness with its own weirdness of being that the 5 chord is suggesting Mixolydian. And then I resolve it with the 1, 3, 5 of E. So it was me noodling around, and I put in some scale runs there, because then you can interject your two-dimensional scale playing. Some effects, it'll sound cool. I did have the effects on. Alright, so enough of me jamming. You get the point. I think. Let's map some of that out. So I'll quickly use an X to kind of help out the beginners here. Even though I've done beat modal to death here, all I did was consider that the basic root note you were hearing was on the A. But anyways, here, 1, 2, 2. There's the first note, the scale of the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So there's the fourth note of the scale, and that was right here on the A. Here we're gonna we'll put a circle right there, because that was our root note. So since we had a 4 right there, 3 right there, then we had our 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. Then we had and instantly I know the whole scale across the neck, because I understand which row I'm on. A row of square boxes at an angle going this way, all connected at the corner. This one is there's 2 rows, one that has the whole boxes and one that has half boxes, or they straddle different string sets. One row has well, you know what, you got to watch the other videos. I can't go over that here and bore everybody who knows that. So I knew that I was here, there. Then we have, in my mind's eye, I have the Aeolian pentatonic shape right there. It means that there's a full square right there, and we probably have a note right there. And then so we have here's one row. We go to the top. Here's our second row. Now we have full square on these 2 strings, full square on these 2 strings, full square on these 2 strings, but we skip 1 fret because of that B string shift, and I know that that's my Dorian scale shape made up of adding the gut notes to a pentatonic. Right there is my Phrygian shape that's connected to Dorian, and there's another square right there, which is the same square I'm an octave above right there. So boom, that's where my palette was. So, but what about these what about the 5 chord? So the 5 chord is here. And this is what I was doing. I was mostly accentuating this special little group right here. See, when you're the way that these are connected all on the corner like that, in a kind of like a row, down one string, up one fret, down one string, up one fret, in a very geometrical kind of angle there. That's the tritone row, where you have a tritone on your guitar. That's what I call it. Anyways, I never heard a guitar teacher tell me that, but I call it the tritone row. I would teach my students that's the tritone row. And here, once again, you have the tritone row right through here. And what it is it's the 7. Well, if you were considering from the 1, here you're basically playing the 7 and the 4, but if you're considering that your chord of the moment is here on the 5th, the root is here. Speaking of intervals, that is a 7. So that's the flatted 7th. So in other words, go with me here: 1, flat 2, 2, flat 3, 3. So 1, 2, 3 of our scale. 4, flat 5, 5, sharp 5. There's the 6. There's the flatted 7th, regular 7th, and the octave. The same A note, or what is that? Now we're on G, because A was the 4, E was the 1, F sharp was the 2, G sharp was the 3, A is the 4th, and what's that? B is the 5th. So I have the B as B is my 1 in my chord, my flatted 7th. I don't really have to know these note names, so I'm not even going to go there. What are we? We got an A for the flatted 7th here. Just kind of, and then what's our third note here? That's our tritone. Tony's tritones. And so what are we at? A D sharp there? Because that's a D. That would be a D sharp, right? Or E flat. I don't know. Music theoreticians will bitch and scream about what note that actually is. There's a definite way to know that, which I don't know. So, but I don't really care. It doesn't have to. As you heard, it's not something I need to know to noodle around and jam like that. Sure, it has a way it could help, but we're just going to put it as a D sharp. It doesn't really matter. What we're actually thinking of is the 1, the flatted 7th, and the flat 3rd. No, major sharp, regular 3rd. Flat 7th 3rd. That's a tritone. And that's the tritone that's found in the 5th chord. And so these are the important tones in the 5th chord. Less importance is the 5th. And so there you have your 5 chord as a 7th chord, which is your basics of jazz. Of course, there's possibilities of using extensions and all that other stuff, heading in 9ths and 13ths, but for today's basic lesson, we're just going with a 7th chord, expanding a little from our normal tritone, which would be a 1, 3, 5. Here we have the 1, 5, 7, 3. And let's hear something there. Something isn't making sense to me. Something seems wrong. So why does that seem like a flat 3rd? Because that's the root. Okay, I got this. I see what I did wrong here. I'm glad my eraser worked. I didn't think it did. We got to consider that our root is up here and we're skipping a string. If we made our root here, would be playing a minor flat 7th. So it's like the difference between this right? There's our dominant 7th. But if we move the root down, we would actually have a or move the bottom of our chord up, which is what I accidentally did, making a what is that? A B minor 7th. Sorry, that's once again a B major 7th Yeah. I know that screwed me up, but okay. Alright. So I was thinking about the fourth string or something. And that would have changed it up, yeah, because if I fretted that from this shape with the root down there from the fourth string, then that same shape is a minor seventh chord. And that's because down here, even though you're at the shape of a tritone is there because of the string shift. That's just that's a fourth. The interval of a fourth. That's a flat fifth. That's a fifth. You gotta go to do the same kind of power chord shape that you would do up here. So you can see there's one extra fret down there, but you guys know that. So anyways, so I know that these notes okay, start again, hold on. Starting on the fifth fret, the A, hold on, let me see that I'm in camera here. Going up to the top. Ran out of frets. So, those are the tritones that we need. What we want are the, we kind of want the 1, the 3, and the 7th the most, and then I'll show you some other notes I thought were cool and I added in there. So, basically, you can think that there's that right there. Now, hold on a second here. Okay, so when I drew, look at that. Okay, I see what I did. All right. So, all right, we got this. Thought I screwed up there for a second, but so what we got here. Here's the 1, and of course here is what I was thinking of. I'm gonna I'm gonna use a color here. So what I was kind of thinking of when I was jamming there is I kind of discovered this little pattern here. I was playing this. So then we had the 7th, the 3rd, and the 1. The 1 is right there because after 7 is always the 1. So I was thinking this little 3-note pattern here on the top strings, octave repeated on the middle 2 strings, and then octave repeated on the bottom 2 strings. Here, and here. You see there's an X there because it's a note in our scale. But we're selecting the notes of the 5 chord. So we're telling the listener, hey, there's something going on here. I'm dancing around a specific chord that's got more tension in it than the other chords in the scale. And then I was resolving to another chord, which we'll do the resolving green. So I was putting I'll put some blue notes in there. They were I was extending it a little bit. So if we had the 7, the 1, and the 3, I was adding the 4 in there as a step, and the 5. So, those make pretty good steps. The 5 definitely a great step. The 4 a little questionable, but the 4 was working because that was the root note of the chord that was jamming, and so that's why the 4 sounded good, I think. And then I would repeat that by going up here. Now we're going to have our, and that shape there is easy to play. The blue and 2 pink dots. you can take that as a slide down to get to your next shape. And once you're in that shape, you can use those as your position shift notes to get your hand over where you need. A little two-dimensional there at the end. And even though it's pretty tense, those are the notes that I'm so it's a little more confusing on the, you see I was struggling there a bit to get it all to sound right, and that was because I was here. Once you're here, think about your tritone there, okay, and then we're doing that same kind of triangular shape here, only we're straddling the middle, the 4th and 5th string here, and then we're going to do the same thing here, but it's not going to work because of the string shift here. We're going to go down our tritone, and yeah, so we would be, in theory, that would be, that shape there would be our second shape, and then all we got is that. So, to get our other two notes there, our blue notes are going to be here and here, and there and there. You'd probably play those two and sound alright. And that means that these two are going to work, and these two, what do you know, are the octave above these two. You're right there again. So, we resolved it then to the E, which was these notes here. Well, I'm going to have to put a bigger circle to kind of make them work, so we don't kind of color over. We'll use a square there. And that was the resolve back to the E. I was primarily using there. Now here I used a little, here where the tension, when I brought in that little tension, I'll put an X there. I used those two notes. One of them was not in the scale at all, but I think that sounded okay. And you know, yeah, you could use let's say, be there, you can use this, this, and that. Alrighty then, you could probably do that. You could probably do there, there, and there. And perhaps there. Oh, that'd be there and there. So yeah, you can see there some, the green are the, if you wanted to get back to the E and just arpeggiate the E, I found that arpeggiating like the 6 didn't really do much for me. Arpeggiating any of the other ones didn't do a whole lot for me, but kind of resolving to the E did in that particular jam. And so these are just some of the kind of ideas you can use to add that dimension to your playing. Focus on chord tones and the way to take them all around the neck. Especially I found this 5 chord is pretty easy with this little pink triangular shape here. I thought that was pretty tasty to get around the neck. So we'll keep it quick and short tonight. I guess I'd like to go on for an hour. And just looking at my shirt there, Banff. Sounds like a fart, right? This was a park I went to in Canada. I got a load way out to Calgary. I was way out in Calgary. Drove there. And since I had an extra day there, I drove over to the mountains were about 50 miles to the west of the city of Calgary. Huge Rocky Mountains. And they got a little tourist town called Banff in there. It's a park, and you can go hiking in all these places. It was pretty incredible. I suggest you go there sometime if you're ever out that way. So hey, here you can talk to me again. Hello, with rock and roll hair. All right, so tied back here. It doesn't puff out so much at the sides and look crazy. It's pretty dry. I don't know what else to say about this here. Okay. There was another pattern I used, and I came up with this tonight too. I'm pretty sure, I know what it is. It's sounds kind of cool, right? Grooving all week with you. So what this was here is a let's put this down again. All right. So sorry. See that kind of angle there? Kind of like the bottom of this chord. A bar chord, a B major bar chord. Just take these 3 gut notes here. Almost like as if you're making an F shape, but I'm not playing that bottom note. Move that up here. And so since you have 2 majors, that's because you're playing that bit of the chord, it's basically that B. It's a bit of that B bar chord, so we're just going to call that B major. And then there's B major, there's A major, sorry. A major and B major. Since we have 2 major chords together, that tells me that's the 4 and that's the 5. It's more of a traditional 7th chord there, but if you just played it as a regular triad, you'd have... So now we have... we have this chord here. So what does that signify there? What do we have there? We have we've moved to the 6, which is a C sharp. And you've got the makings of minor there. We're adding in a new note there, a sharp 5th for whatever reason, but it sounds cool, and I don't know the exact theory about why, but it's got a cool sound, so we went with it. That would almost be insinuating like the 7th. Then we had this, like the A, the 1. Well, A would actually be the 4 if we were considering the key of E. yeah, so here we're basically, it's basically the same thing. Then we're just a different inversion of the A and the B again, and then the A and the B again. So kind of it's just inversions. So this is probably ends up at the end of the day being some kind of inversion. Let's see, that would be a B. We have an E flat. What note is that? That's an F sharp. So, in our B we have a B. We have a E flat and an F sharp. So here we had a B. Sounds like an inversion. So I think it was just all inversions of A and B, and that sounded kind of cool. It was basically arpeggiating the fourth and the fifth, which was going along with the music, which was based on the fourth of the scale. Kind of our chord, our underlying chord was a 4, but we were playing with that 5 arpeggio, and then arpeggiating both of them again in just a different way. So have fun with that. You can make your own jam there if you have a looper pedal, or if you have one of these freeze pedals that you can hold a chord with, or even a keyboard will do that. I don't think I have my keyboard hooked up and turned on. I don't think it'll work. Well, it's hooked up. I don't know if you guys can hear that though. I don't know. You guys don't need to hear all that, but I can press the sustain pedal on that and hold a chord down. Use one of the horn settings or whatever. It's one of the ones that'll sustain, and you can get a chord ringing on that, and you can do some real spacey chords on that thing, real spread voicings that'll sound really cool, and then really accentuate some of these little noodlings that you do. So have fun with that. A way to kind of give some extra dimension to your jamming now that you're familiar with the getting familiar. We're kind of moving beyond the standard lesson of like, here's the fretboard, here's how the mechanics work. If you watch this lesson and you didn't get how the fretboard worked, you're saying, what, squares? What is this guy talking about? It looked a little bit alien to you. Go back and watch some of the other videos where I show you just how totally easy it is to master the entire fretboard by using a simple navigation square, and then having that lead you into 3 pentatonic based scale shapes that'll get you all across the fretboard. All right, I'm going to leave you with that. I thank everybody for watching. Let me check the YouTube channel just to see if any of you guys are on here asking questions. Maybe I got some questions. We'll call them super chats so I can feel cool. Josie, Walter Becker, hello from Asia in North Carolina. Message retracted. Oh, that sucks. Awaken, yes. So cool. Maybe you were hearing some of that in what I was playing, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I was hoping Walter Becker would be watching this. I think that would be cool as hell, but I just suppose you're a fan, and you said hello from North Carolina, so hello back. Thank you for watching. I appreciated the comments. And yeah, so if you're still watching, thanks. I appreciate it. And I will talk to you guys soon. I guess we're going to... Hey, you are. I got your message right there. Thanks. That's great. Glad you could be here. Got any questions before I go? I'll hang out for a second, see if you got any question about tonight's jam or what we could do next. Should I come back and do a Eros looper video? That'll be harder to do. I don't know if I can get my camera to focus on the pedal. Sounded great. Well, thank you very much. I very much appreciate that. I'm very appreciative of all the comments that people leave me, because this could easily sound like crap to people. So I took care of something with my bit rate too, so I'm pretty happy because YouTube is reporting an excellent connection, so now it's making sense for the internet that I pay for. So there was a little bit of awaken in that one riff. Cool, man. I'm gonna have to listen to that because I love Yes. And it's not too it's not too far off, starting to get into these little bits of theory into your playing that you start to hear, like, hey, that sounded like such and such. Hey, Steely Dan there's a bit of Steely Dan in there. There's a bit of Yes in there because, that's where this is. That's where they're pulling all this stuff from. It's bits of chord tones and bits of theory in interesting and weird ways. And there's this band. What I heard the other day, there's this band. I'm sure you've never heard of them. They're called Deus Ex Machina, and they're an Italian progressive rock band, kind of like imagine Dream Theater meets Emerson, Lake and Palmer in Kansas. They got violins and keyboards, and the guy sings in operatic Latin. Sounds like it's Italian, but it's actually Latin, and it's just really cool. At the end of the day, it's a really cool mix of heavy weirdness, progressive weirdness, and one of their songs goes. It starts out with that riff. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, oh, so they were trying to accentuate the 5 chord there. And yeah, is this the riff with that was you heard Awaken in? Screwed all that up. Oh, cool. So thanks for that. I'm going to check that out and hear, because that I know all of Yes, but just Awaken is that's one I can't recall off the top of my head. I don't listen to that song very much, but I love Relayer. I could probably recall every note of Relayer in my head and Close to the Edge, and on and on. This is a riff here where I'm playing the arpeggio in what's that? Fourths down the neck, fourth above, and the string shift here changes the pattern up and shoves you up a fret, so you just go straight above, and now you can take everything a fret higher. And if you do that really fast, it sounds like it's kind of blooming, this geometric blooming pattern, because you end up running up an octave higher each time. Well, cool, man. I'm going to let you go. And I appreciate you watching and all the nice comments that you left. And yeah, give me something to check out there. Let me go listen to Awaken. Have a great night. I'll I'll be live again sometime when I can get home. Maybe I'll be live from the van again because, like I said, I got that job delivering freight and I'm away from home all the time. And it sucks because I'm thinking about getting rid of this apartment, save some money, but I don't want to lose this great fiber optic connection. It's kind of a bummer. All right. Thank you for watching. Have a great night. Let's go to